Yeah, we don't give the middle ground guys any love.
So, like, here's an example.
Andrew Wiggins, Austin Reeves.
Exactly. Wilmer Flores. Let no, be real. Like, if I say, damn, Wilmer Flores had a great month, you'd be carrying him. Like, everyone's like, Wilmer Flores sucks. No, he's a good baseball player.
Wilmer Flores
he's not a great baseball player.
But he's been a very solid
He's
giant.
a really good player.
I like Wilmer Flores.
That's my point.
I like a lot of people rip Wilmer. I like Wilmer.
Me too. Me too. I really like him too. But, like, we're not even allowed to be a good player anymore. It's either superstar or straight trash.
Yep.
And I guess that's where I get frustrated with the data boys in baseball, because it's like you're either a platooner or you're a superstar and you're Mookie Betts. It's like, well, what about Robbie Thompson?
Right.
You can't even be a Robbie Thompson anymore.
Darren Lewis.
Right? And so, like, Kirk Cousins is a great example. I don't think Kirk Cousins is a top 8 quarterback. That doesn't mean you can't win a ton of football games and be really good. Jimmy G, right? We just argued our way through the whole Jimmy G experience, right? And I think most people would say, like, Jimmy G was really good. He wasn't great.
He's a good Niner.
He was really, really, really good. So, like, I go back to the Purdy thing, and I say to myself, like, to win a Super Bowl, it just feels like lately you've had to have one of those superstar quarterbacks. Now, I'm sure someone's going to come along and win with what we would deem to be a good, not great quarterback, and they're going to win it all with a supremely talented team. Everything's going to click. I mean, Nick Foles just did it recently. Like, Nick Foles had a really good run. No one is sitting here saying that Nick Foles is some great quarterback, but he was really good in that run. Flacco was really good in that run. It's hard, though, and I think the journey of winning a championship, I just feel like when you say championship or bust for most teams, it totally negates the journey for me, and that's the part that, like, I don't want to acknowledge.
So there's a couple texts here. We're giving out tickets in 4 minutes. 925, the championship or bust mentality is the dumbest mentality in all of sports. Completely ignores that winning a championship is difficult. See, I could see how you see it like that, but I don't. I understand. When I say the Niners are in a Super Bowl or bust setting, I understand it's very hard. It's very hard. You have to withstand injuries. You have to withstand turbulence. There's always going to be a team that's going to come out of nowhere. They may have your number. You got the Philadelphia Eagles waiting on everybody, and they're stacked.
Yeah.
Stacked.
I think you're right. They might be better.
It might be better on paper.
They might be better than last year.
Not only that.
Crazy to say.
Not only that. You took one of the bye weeks away in the NFL.
I know.
So now only one team in each conference gets a bye week, which makes it even harder because 6 of the 7 teams in each conference have to play every single weekend of the playoffs before you get that bye week before the Super Bowl.
I hate that,
so it is super hard.
Yes.
I understand that. But I also understand that this core group that is loaded, and this team is top heavy, and they've been knocking on the door. And what's left for this team? They've had all the Pro Bowls. They've had all pro players. They have Pro Bowlers, all pro players. People have gotten paid. Bosa's next to get paid, right? You got the coach. You got the GM, who almost walked away and went to television. But you got the GM. And now you're in year 7 of this regime. And you're so close. Like, think about how disappointing it is that Jim Harbaugh, Frank Gore, Patrick Willis, we talk about all the time, didn't get that one ring.
It breaks my heart.
That is keeping a lot of those guys out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
It breaks my heart.
You get one ring. Think about how many Hall of Famers this regime, this core group may have. Now, Trent Williams is a Hall of Famer. But if George Kittle doesn't have a ring, he's going to be a borderline Hall of Famer.
Well, we'll see. We'll
see how it plays out, right? But Depot,
I mean,
a
like
ring
Antonio
helps.
Gates doesn't have a ring. His
career is absolutely incredible.
Comprehensive.
But you would look at those San Diego teams. And you would say, they didn't get one ring.
I know.
And they were in a Super Bowl or bust setting for a good 4-year run. Go ask Neal.
But I would also say to you, I'm glad you brought up that San Diego team. It feels like even in the playoffs they underperformed. Like, they didn't even have, like, what's that? Just think about that team, that little run they had. What's their playoff moment? It's like LaDainian Tomlinson on the sideline with the helmet on, sadly. At minimum, like, and I'm not trying to make, like, I'm not trying to pretend like they're champions, but, like, Shanahan's teams and Harbaugh's teams, they've won some monster playoff games.
Those San Diego teams on the way to those playoff games, they were 14-2 one year.
I know. Shanahan's won 6 playoff games in his 3 playoff.
Marty and Norv won a lot of playoff games.
6.
Marty and Norv won some playoff games, but they won a lot of big games. You can't say they didn't win a lot of. They beat Peyton Manning in wild card games for crying out loud.
Was that the one where the kicker missed the field goal? Or no?
I don't. I know Cromartie had like 3 picks one year
That's
against.
right.
That was on a Monday night game, I think. But the Chargers, that they were in a setting where if we don't win the title, so maybe it should be Super Bowl or bust. Maybe it shouldn't be title or bust. But maybe it should be title or disappointment. Because if they don't win a championship this year, it will be disappointing for the 49ers. A lot of fans will be disappointed. Because a bust will say, if we say Super Bowl or bust, maybe that's the Philadelphia Eagles dream team that didn't make the playoffs, that fell on their heads. Michael Vick got crushed. Nnamdi Asomugha got ran out of town. That was a bust year.
Well, I look at the Warriors. It's shaping up, right? For the Warriors, it's pretty much like you got to win the title, and anything short of that, because of where these guys are at in their career, not that it's like, oh, it's devastating, but that'd be really disappointing for those guys. But they've already got their stuff that's cemented. Yes.
So the disappointment is not as deep as it would be for the 49ers.
But I'm saying, in terms of what they're putting together, like the Chiefs, every year that they don't win it, it is considered not successful enough.
Yep.
Right? Because of what the standard that they've created at this point. So, I say this, B, what if I presented this option to you? Because we talk about the team. They got 8 guys in the top 100. They're amazing. Those things deteriorate for whatever reasons. Underperformance, injuries, blah, blah, blah. But Brock Purdy shows, dude, he has a Jalen Hurts-like year. Now I say to myself, all right, so we didn't win it this year. But, boy, we got a 10-year window, right? So there's many ways this season could play out. And it depends, the level of optimism versus disappointment. I got to see what it looks like.
But even then, if Purdy balls out this year, we don't know if he's going to be good for the next 10 years. He could get hurt.
Yeah, but you feel like that.
You feel like maybe you found your guy. But even if Purdy does play like Jalen Hurts this year, you're playing for something bigger than just a divisional championship. Purdy plays like Jalen Hurts from a season ago.
You're thinking Super Bowl.
We're talking Las Vegas.
But that's
we're talking Allegiant Stadium in February.
But when I look at those top 7, 8 quarterbacks that we keep rattling off, right? It's Burrow is every year he doesn't win the Super Bowl. Yeah, because that's where his expectation level is now. And it kind of sounds absurd because he took a team that was the Bengals, for crying out loud. Mahomes, same thing. But you know that they've got 10-year windows. And as long as those guys are there, they're going to be in the mix. So if you told me even this year they don't win a Super Bowl, but that's what I can hang my hat on,
then that's a good thing. And that's something we'll talk about. I
wouldn't love it, but boy, I'd accept it.
So this Chargers run from 2004 to 2009. Think about what they did. And think about the disappointment of Charger fans right now. We're going to give some tickets away in just 3 minutes here. 3 minutes. They were 12-4, 04, lost in a wild card game. 9-7 next year, don't make the playoffs. 06, 14-2, lost that classic game to the Patriots where Marty Schottenheimer told the safety, you're going to get interception today. And the safety did get the interception, but he didn't get down and he fumbled and he gave the ball back to the Patriots.
They didn't win a playoff game that year.
They didn't win a playoff game.
Wow, okay.
11-5 the next year with Norv Turner. They get to the conference championship to New England. They lose 21-12.
I vaguely remember that. So they had won a playoff, at least a playoff, yeah.
8-8 the next year. They win a playoff game. They lose in the divisional round. 13-3 the next season. 13-3, which I think they had a bye week. And they got smoked by the New York Jets at home.
So they won 2 playoff games essentially in that entire time. See, that's a big disappointment. The Niners have won saying. The Niners have won 2 playoff games in every time they've entered during Shanahan. So admit, you can say, Joe, when you enter in the wild card, you got to win an extra game.
So where are the Niners at? Because 408's telling me Xfinity Mobile text line, stop, Bonte. Championship or bust only applies to clear favorites or all-time great teams. For example, Warriors from 2017 to 19, Niners in the 90s, Lakers, Celtics 80s, Heat from 11 to 14. Are the Niners not one of the favorites to contend for the Super Bowl this year? Or am I missing something?
No, they are. They are. But that doesn't mean that it's championship or bust for them. Again, for me, just my setting,
all right.
I don't even think it's championship or bust for Cincinnati. To me, it's just Kansas City. But that's my setting. That's not everyone else's setting.
That's not my setting. Yeah. Let's go to Richard Livermore. Rich, what's happening? Rich, what's happening?
What's up, fellas? Thanks for taking my call, man.
Anytime.
Hey, got 2 things for you guys real quick. B and Chaz. So I think first, one thing about the Super Bowl run is we've been starting off late with this 3 and 5 starts and ramping up, and I think we can't afford that. Hey, we lost home field last year with that BS. I think Shot Kyle got to put Brock's ass in there now, or at least the last preseason game with the ones, and get something going so the guy can get some chemistry and get some real gameplay. And 2, I think with the Trey Lance and the Sam Darnold deal, I really think he's not getting a fair chance. Leave the ones in there for the first half and let Lance get down with them. I think the game will slow down for him. He got more weapons. He got a better O-line. The kid may be able to make some plays. And then let Darnold have a couple, series with him. That's how you really can assess who the backup is. Because I feel like if Brock does go down, we're screwed. we don't know who the hell's going to be our QB. We don't know how they're going to perform, right? What do you guys think about that?
Well, I was talking to B at the break, and I was just saying to him, like, with all the hype and everything with Purdy, if for whatever reason, injury, underperformance, if we get a look at Sam Darnold at some point this year, even if Sam Darnold balled out, I'd be very disappointed. Just on the level of
even if he wins games,
because of the Brock Purdy thing.
What if Sam Darnold balls out and he's on a 1-year deal? Purdy goes down, and Darnold looks like he's the guy who can lead the offense. Oh, it's time to give away some tickets. 415-951-2386. 415-951-2386. Caller number 4 will win 2 tickets to see LL Cool J September 1st at Chase Center. That's going to be sick. I'm going to be out of town for that. Plus 2 tickets to see 50 Cent September 2nd at the Shoreline Amphitheater, courtesy of Live Nation. That's right. Caller number 4, 415-951-2386. What if Darnold does come in and ball out? You're like, oh my gosh, maybe Darnold could be the guy.
Well, it would just.
Why could Darnold Brock Purdy?
Well, he could. He absolutely could. Look, if you ask me, Joe, you have to put money $1,000. He does or he doesn't play this year. I'm putting the $1,000 on. We're going to see Sam Darnold at some point start a game for the Niners. That's where I would put my money, and not because I don't like Brock, because I just look at the team. Like they've had one quarterback take all the snaps, and that was 2019 during the Shanahan era. I want to ask you something though about like this whole rhetoric about what they got to do with Trey Lance. I find it interesting. I think a lot of people, and you and I have kind of talked about this off air, like a lot of people that talk about sports, that, love sports, maybe don't understand the nuance of sports. Practice for anyone is like what, 2 hours a day?
Yeah.
Give or take? All right. I say this a lot, and I'm not trying to compare Little League practice to an NFL practice. It is totally different. There are thousands of coaches, totally different. But I do see the similarity in this sense. There's a similarity here. I tell parents all the time, look, I can only give so much time to any one kid on the field at the expense of the other people. So even if I broke down and gave your kid individual coaching while I'm coaching the other 20 kids on the team, what am I giving them? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
At the expense of the other 19 kids that are on that field. Right? So this narrative that they have to do X, Y, and Z for Trey Lance, that ship has sailed. He has to coach the entire team. There are 53 more now, 80 guys on that field that they're coaching. They've got an entire ship of dudes that they're taking a journey with. They can't go backwards and make a special catering situation for the guy. At one point, maybe they could have a year ago, 2 years ago, but that ship has sailed. And now they've got this entire boat of guys that they're on this journey to try to win a championship with. And if Trey falls behind, well, that's on him. That's not on Shanahan to stop what he's doing at the expense of the other 8 guys in the top 100 to go back and work just with him or to create a setting just for him. So, everyone has to realize that's not how sports works.
No, it doesn't work like that. By the way, I'm going to get to the sound. I want to get to David Frizzo. Then I got a sound bite. I want to see how people react to it. Shanahan on Tim Kawakabe's podcast is somehow, some way, it slipped me. I hadn't heard it yet. We will in a second, but first, Dave in Fresno. Dave, what's happening?
You guys, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Just want to say, you guys talking about Super Bowl bust. I think it's more so Purdy or bust. And I say that because if he flames out or he ain't as good as what the coach feels or the team feels, where do you turn to next year as a quarterback? Like, do you go into the draft? Like, do you get a veteran? Like, Tom Brady ain't walking through that door anymore. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be available. So it's like, all right, if Purdy ain't the guy, then what do you do? I don't think you can go to Trey at that point. I just think that ship's going to sail. And Shasky, you say, well, only a few teams have Mahomes and Burrow and Herbert and Lamar. What I would say to that is those teams, if you have that guy, every year you have a chance to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter who's on the team. If you have a Bosa, if you have a Kittle, it doesn't matter. If you have those guys, you have a chance to win the Super Bowl. With us, we have to have all those guys to have Purdy as our quarterback. All those guys have to be in a team as opposed to one player. So it does help to have that, that quarterback, that guy, because once you have him, everything else can just fall in place. With us, it all has to be kind of working together. And this core is not going to stay together forever, but a quarterback can stay for a long time if you have that guy. So if Purdy's not it, then where do you turn to next? That's why I think Purdy has to work. Otherwise, we're going to be doing that song and dance again next year.
Exactly. You're so on point,
but
Dave.
You were
You're
just
so
saying that
point.
Darnold could step in and win games.
No,
or you were saying hypothetically,
what if he did? Maybe the Niners say, well, we're going to give Sam Darnold another 1-year deal or a 2-year deal and go get it and keep Purdy because you have him on a team-friendly deal. Now, you got to make a decision on Trey Lance, but this was fascinating. I'm surprised more people didn't talk about this. July 25th.